There are moments in life when everything seems impossible. The problem looks too big, the pain feels too deep, and the future appears too uncertain. Perhaps you have made countless du'as, shed tears in the darkness of the night, and waited for an answer that seems delayed. Perhaps you are carrying a burden that nobody knows about, a struggle that has left you feeling exhausted and hopeless. In those moments, Shaitan wants you to believe that nothing will change, that your situation is beyond repair, and that your dreams are too far away to become reality. But as believers, we worship the one for whom nothing is impossible. We worship the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who brings life from what appears dead, the one who turns hardship into ease, and the one who opens doors that no human being can open. When Allah wills something, no force can stop it. When Allah decides to bless someone, no obstacle can prevent it. What seems impossible to us is effortless for Allah. Sometimes we focus so much on the size of our problems that we forget the greatness of our Lord. We measure our challenges by our own limited abilities instead of measuring them against the unlimited power of Allah. The same Allah who parted the sea, protected his servants in their darkest moments, and answered the prayers of those who thought all hope was lost, is the same Allah we call upon today. No matter what you are facing right now, never allow your circumstances to make you doubt the mercy, wisdom, and power of Allah. The breakthrough you are waiting for may be closer than you think. The answer to your dua may already be on its way. What appears impossible today can become a reality tomorrow, because when Allah intends something good for his servant, he creates a way where no way seemed to exist. There are moments in life when a person feels trapped by circumstances. The situation seems so difficult that finding a solution appears impossible. A person may be struggling financially, dealing with family problems, facing health challenges, carrying emotional pain, or waiting for a dua that has remained unanswered for years. As human beings, we naturally look at our problems through the lens of our own abilities. We calculate the possibilities based on what we can see, what we know, and what we think can happen. When every door appears closed, we begin to feel discouraged. When every effort seems unsuccessful, we become tired. Sometimes we even start believing that our situation can never change. But this is where faith changes everything. A believer understands that there is a difference between what is impossible for people and what is impossible for Allah. Human beings have limits. We become weak, tired, confused, and powerless. Allah, however, has no limits. His power is absolute. His knowledge encompasses everything. His control extends over every part of creation. When Allah wills something, it does not matter how impossible it may appear to human eyes. It only takes His command for circumstances to change completely. Many of us make the mistake of measuring Allah's ability according to our own understanding. We look at a difficult situation and think there is no way out. We look at a closed door and assume it will remain closed forever. We look at a delayed prayer and assume it may never be answered. Yet Allah sees what we cannot see. He knows what is happening behind the scenes. He knows the opportunities that are approaching, the people He will place in our path, and the blessings that are already being prepared for us. The Quran repeatedly reminds believers about the limitless power of Allah. When we read the stories of the prophets, we find lesson after lesson showing us that Allah specializes in creating solutions where no solution seems possible. When Prophet Ibrahim a.s. was thrown into the fire, the situation appeared hopeless from a human perspective. Fire burns. That is its nature. Yet Allah commanded the fire to become cool and safe. The laws that Allah created are under His control. He can change circumstances whenever He wills. When Prophet Musa a.s. stood before the sea with his people, while an army approached from behind, many believed there was no escape. They saw water in front of them and danger behind them. Yet Allah opened a path through the sea itself. What looked impossible one moment became reality the next because Allah willed it. These stories are not merely historical events. They are reminders for every believer facing difficulties today. They teach us that Allah's help can arrive from directions we never expected. The solution may come through means we never imagined. The door may open in a way we could never have planned. One of the reasons Allah allows us to face situations that seem impossible is to strengthen our trust in Him. If every problem had an obvious solution, we would rely entirely upon ourselves. We would place all our confidence in our own abilities. But sometimes Allah places us in situations where our plans fail, our resources become limited, and our strength is no longer enough. It is during these moments that we learn what true reliance upon Allah means. A woman waiting for marriage may feel that time is passing and opportunities are disappearing. A man searching for employment may feel discouraged after repeated disappointments. A parent may worry endlessly about a child. Someone suffering from illness may wonder whether healing will ever come. In all these situations, the heart can become overwhelmed by fear and uncertainty. Yet faith reminds us that Allah is capable of changing everything in an instant. This does not mean that believers stop making effort. Islam teaches us to work hard, make plans, seek solutions, and use the means that Allah has provided. However, our trust remains in Allah rather than in those means. We understand that success does not come from our efforts alone. It comes from Allah placing blessings in those efforts. A person may work harder than everyone else and still fail if Allah does not decree success. Another person may face countless obstacles yet succeed because Allah opens doors for them. There is something beautiful about the phrase, kun fayakun, be, and it is. This reminds us that Allah's power is not dependent upon time, resources, or conditions. Human beings often need months or years to accomplish something. We require planning, support, and favorable circumstances. Allah simply wills something, and it becomes reality according to His wisdom. Sometimes the delay in receiving what we want causes us to lose hope. We think that because something has not happened yet, it never will. But delay does not mean impossibility. Allah may be preparing something greater than what we originally requested. He may be teaching us lessons that we need before receiving the blessing. He may be protecting us from harm that we cannot see. What appears to be a delay may actually be part of a perfect plan. Many people can look back at difficult periods in their lives and recognize blessings hidden within those struggles. At the time, they did not understand why things were happening. They felt frustrated and confused. Yet later they realized that Allah's plan was far better than their own. The closed door protected them. The delay prepared them. The hardship strengthened them. The disappointment redirected them towards something better. This is why believers should never allow despair to settle in their hearts. Despair suggests that Allah cannot change a situation. And that is never true. No matter how complicated a problem may seem, Allah's power is greater. No matter how distant a dream may appear, Allah can bring it closer. No matter how broken a situation may look, Allah can repair it. There are people who believed they would never find happiness again after experiencing loss. Yet Allah filled their lives with peace. There are people who thought they would never recover from hardship, yet Allah granted them ease. There are people who believed their prayers would never be answered, yet Allah answered them in ways beyond their imagination. These stories happen every day because Allah continues to remind humanity that His power has no limits. Perhaps the greatest challenge is maintaining hope while waiting. Anyone can trust Allah when things are going well. Real faith appears when circumstances become difficult. Real trust is shown when a person continues making dua despite delays, continues praying despite hardships, and continues believing despite uncertainty. This type of trust is beloved to Allah because it reflects certainty in His wisdom and power. A believer learns to look beyond present circumstances. Instead of focusing only on what is visible, they focus on the one who controls everything that is visible and invisible. They understand that Allah can change hearts, create opportunities, remove obstacles, and transform situations in ways that nobody expects. They know that every challenge remains under Allah's control and that nothing can happen without His permission. When a servant sincerely turns toward Allah, raising their hands in dua and placing their trust in Him, they are connecting themselves to the source of all power and mercy. They are calling upon the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who controls every affair, and the one for whom every impossible situation is easy. No matter how dark the night becomes, no matter how difficult the road appears, and no matter how long the waiting continues, the believer remembers that a single command from Allah can change everything in an instant. One of the most difficult experiences a believer can face is making dua for something with all their heart and then waiting for what feels like a very long time without seeing the answer. There are people who pray for years asking Allah for relief from hardship. Some ask for a righteous spouse. Some ask for children. Some ask for healing, guidance, financial stability, peace of mind, or the resolution of a problem that weighs heavily on their hearts. Day after day, they continue making dua, hoping that this might be the day Allah answers them. But as time passes, doubt can begin to creep into the heart. A person may start wondering if their dua is being heard. They may ask themselves whether Allah is pleased with them. They may even feel discouraged because the situation around them seems unchanged. Yet one of the most important truths every believer must remember is that a delayed dua is not a forgotten dua. Allah never forgets the prayers of His servants. He hears every word that leaves the tongue and knows every feeling hidden within the heart. When we speak to Allah, we are speaking to the one whose knowledge has no limits. He knows our past, our present, and our future. He knows what we desire and why we desire it. He knows what will benefit us and what may harm us. Because of this complete knowledge, Allah responds to our duas according to His perfect wisdom rather than according to our limited understanding. As human beings, we often want things immediately. We live in a world where speed has become normal. We expect quick results and fast solutions. When something takes longer than expected, we become frustrated. This mindset sometimes affects our relationship with dua. We raise our hands, ask Allah for something, and then begin measuring the answer according to our own timetable. If weeks or months pass without visible change, we feel disappointed. However, Allah's wisdom is far greater than human impatience. The delay itself may be serving a purpose that we cannot yet understand. Sometimes Allah delays a blessing because He is preparing us for it. Imagine receiving something you desperately want before you are emotionally, mentally, or spiritually ready to handle it. What seems like a blessing could become a source of difficulty. Allah knows the exact moment when a blessing will bring the greatest benefit to His servant. There are also times when Allah delays a dua because He wants to draw His servant closer to Him. Think about how often people turn to Allah during hardship. When life becomes difficult, our prayers become more sincere. Our dependence upon Allah increases. We spend more time seeking His guidance and mercy. Through the process of waiting, our relationship with Allah grows stronger. What began as a request for a specific blessing becomes a journey of spiritual transformation. Many people can look back at their lives and recognize moments when they desperately wanted something that never happened. At the time they felt disappointed and confused. They questioned why Allah did not answer their prayer in the way they expected. Yet years later they realized that Allah had protected them from something harmful or guided them toward something better. What seemed like rejection was actually mercy. This is one of the beautiful aspects of faith. A believer trusts that Allah's decisions are based on wisdom, even when that wisdom is not immediately visible. Just because we do not understand something does not mean there is no purpose behind it. Children often do not understand why their parents make certain decisions for them, but loving parents act according to knowledge and experience that children do not yet possess. How much greater, then, is the wisdom of Allah compared to our limited understanding? Sometimes a person asks Allah for one thing while Allah intends to give them something far greater. The believer sees only the specific request, but Allah sees the entire future. We may be focused on one door, while Allah is preparing a better door that has not yet appeared. We may be asking for a particular opportunity, while Allah is arranging something more beneficial. We may be hoping for a certain outcome, while Allah is protecting us from consequences we cannot see. Another reason why believers should never lose hope in their du'as is because Allah loves those who continue calling upon Him. Every sincere dua is an act of worship. Even before the answer arrives, the believer is already benefiting through their connection with Allah. Every moment spent asking Allah increases humility, sincerity, and dependence upon Him. These qualities are among the greatest treasures a believer can possess. There are people who stop making dua because they assume nothing is happening. Yet the reality may be very different. Allah may already be arranging circumstances behind the scenes. He may be removing obstacles that the person cannot see. He may be teaching lessons that will become important later. He may be preparing hearts, opportunities, and situations that need time to develop. Just because the answer is not visible does not mean that Allah is not working. The stories of the prophets remind us of this lesson repeatedly. They faced long periods of waiting and testing. There were times when relief seemed distant and challenges seemed overwhelming. Yet they continued trusting Allah because they knew that His promise is always true. Their patience during uncertainty became one of the reasons for their greatness. In our own lives, we may not realize how much growth takes place during the waiting period. While we focus on the answer we want, Allah may be focusing on the person we are becoming. Patience is developing. Faith is becoming stronger. Character is improving. Gratitude is increasing. These changes are valuable blessings in themselves, even if they are not immediately recognized. A delayed dua often teaches a person to place their trust in Allah rather than in circumstances. When everything appears uncertain, the believer learns that true security comes from Allah alone. This realization creates a type of peace that remains even when external situations are difficult. A person who trusts Allah understands that their future is not controlled by luck, people, or circumstances. It is controlled by the most merciful, the most wise. This trust does not remove every challenge. There will still be moments of sadness, frustration, and uncertainty. There will still be days when the waiting feels heavy. Yet faith allows a believer to continue moving forward. It reminds them that Allah hears every prayer, sees every tear, and knows every struggle. Not a single sincere dua is lost. Not a single moment of patience goes unnoticed. The believer continues raising their hands, continues asking Allah, and continues hoping because they know that Allah's treasures never run out and His mercy never ends. They understand that the answer may arrive in a different form than expected, at a different time than desired, or in a way that reveals wisdom they could not previously see. Through every day of waiting, every whispered prayer, and every act of trust, they hold firmly to the certainty that Allah has not forgotten them, that His timing is perfect, and that every sincere dua remains known to the one who never overlooks a single call from His servants. And if this reminder has touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share it with your loved ones, and continue supporting the spread of beneficial Islamic reminders that inspire hope, patience, and trust in Allah. There are moments in life when everything around us seems to suggest that there is no way forward. We look at our circumstances and see obstacles. We look at our resources and find them limited. We look at our abilities and realize that they are not enough to solve the problems we face. During such moments, it is easy for fear to enter the heart. It is easy to become overwhelmed by uncertainty and begin questioning how things will ever improve. Yet one of the greatest lessons a believer can learn is to trust Allah's power, even when they cannot see a way forward. Human beings naturally want clarity. We want to know what will happen tomorrow. We want to understand how our problems will be solved. We want to see the entire path before taking the first step. But faith does not work that way. Faith often requires us to walk forward while trusting that Allah is guiding us, even when the road ahead is hidden from our sight. Many people believe they can only trust when they have evidence that things will work out. They feel confident when they can see solutions and opportunities. But true trust in Allah is different. True trust means believing in Allah's wisdom and power even when solutions are not visible. It means knowing that Allah is working behind the scenes, even when everything appears still. It means understanding that our limited vision cannot compare to Allah's complete knowledge. There are countless situations in life where people become trapped by what they can see. A person may look at their financial struggles and think there is no escape. Another may look at a broken relationship and believe it can never be repaired. Someone may face a health challenge and wonder if relief will ever come. Others may carry dreams that seem impossible because every door they try appears closed. These situations can make a person feel hopeless if they focus only on their circumstances. However, the believer remembers that Allah's power is not limited by circumstances. Allah does not need favorable conditions in order to create ease. He does not require opportunities in order to provide success. He does not depend upon human calculations to make something happen. When Allah decides to open a door, no one can close it. When He decides to grant relief, no obstacle can prevent it. One of the reasons many people struggle with trust is because they focus too much on the means and not enough on the one who controls the means. We see a closed door and assume it will remain closed. We see a lack of resources and assume success is impossible. We see delays and assume our prayers are not being answered. Yet Allah can create opportunities from places we never expected. He can bring ease through people we have never met. He can change situations in ways that completely surprise us. Think about how many times in your own life things worked out differently than you expected. There may have been moments when you felt certain that a problem had no solution, only to discover later that Allah had already prepared a way out. There may have been times when you thought a dream was impossible, only to see it become reality through circumstances you never imagined. Looking back, you realize that Allah was always in control, even when you could not understand what He was doing. The challenge is maintaining that same trust while we are still in the middle of the struggle. It is easy to recognize Allah's wisdom after the hardship has passed. It is much harder to trust while the pain is still present and the answers have not yet appeared. Yet this is precisely where faith becomes most valuable. Allah often places His servants in situations where they must rely on Him completely. He removes their dependence on worldly supports so that they learn to depend upon Him alone. This process is not punishment. It is preparation. It teaches believers that true strength comes from their connection with Allah rather than from anything in this world. Sometimes a person spends years trying to control every aspect of their future. They plan everything carefully and become frustrated when things do not go according to those plans. Eventually, life teaches them that they are not in control. This realization can be difficult at first, but it can also be liberating. Once a believer accepts that Allah controls every affair, they begin to experience a deeper sense of peace. Trusting Allah does not mean sitting back and doing nothing. Islam teaches us to make effort, seek opportunities, work hard, and pursue beneficial goals. At the same time, we understand that results belong to Allah. We do our best while leaving the outcome in His hands. This balance allows us to move forward without becoming consumed by anxiety. Many of the greatest blessings arrive after long periods of uncertainty. The waiting itself often serves a purpose. During that time, Allah strengthens faith, develops patience, and teaches lessons that will be valuable in the future. What feels like delay may actually be preparation. What feels like a setback may actually be protection. What appears to be a closed door may simply be Allah redirecting us towards something better. A believer who trusts Allah learns to see beyond immediate circumstances. Instead of focusing only on what is visible, they focus on the one who controls everything. They remind themselves that Allah knows what they do not know. They remember that His mercy is greater than their fears, and His wisdom is greater than their understanding. There are people who lost opportunities they desperately wanted, only to discover later that Allah had saved them from harm. There are people who experienced painful delays, only to realize that the timing eventually worked out perfectly. There are people who faced challenges that seemed unbearable, only to emerge stronger, wiser, and closer to Allah than ever before. These experiences teach us that Allah's plan is always operating, even when we cannot see it. When uncertainty fills your heart, continue making dua. When the road ahead seems unclear, continue taking positive steps. When fear whispers that nothing will change, remember the limitless power of Allah. Continue worshipping Him, relying upon Him, and seeking His guidance. Every prayer is heard, every tear is seen, every struggle is known to Allah. If you are benefiting from these reminders, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share it with family and friends. Your support helps these messages reach more people who may be struggling and searching for hope, guidance, and encouragement in their journey of faith. No matter how impossible your situation appears today, never underestimate what Allah can do. The path may be hidden, the answers may not yet be visible, and the future may remain uncertain. But Allah is still the Lord of all things, managing every affair with perfect wisdom and mercy, guiding His servants through challenges they never thought they could overcome, and opening doors they never imagined could exist.